Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Oscar prediction video, where today I will be taking a look at the category of Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So I don't know if you can tell it from my voice, but I am sick today. I really overexerted myself the last couple days. I was very, very busy, and now finally have some time off, and I'm sick and miserable, and it is really unfortunate, but I'm going to try to make this video brief, hopefully with minimal coughing. So, the category of makeup and hairstyling, on paper there seems to be a fairly obvious winner. What makes this category a little bit interesting this year is that 3 of the 5 nominees are lone nominees in the makeup and hairstyling category. Now, in most years, those 3 films would be excused immediately. This year, because of the ruling that Oscar voters have to watch all the nominees, there's a part of me that wonders if this particular category could really put that rule to the test. Probably not. I think based on precursors, they all point in a very specific direction. But I do think these nominees are worth talking about. Starting with, 5th most likely to win is Kakuho. Okay, so full disclosure, I have not seen this movie. It's unfortunate. There are 4 feature-length Oscar-nominated films that I have not seen, and Kakuho is one of them. And from everything that I've seen from the trailers and from images, the film looks very interesting. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully I will get the chance at some point. I think... So it's really, really hard for me to discuss why this could not win. But from what I can gather, most of the makeup in this movie is worn in-universe by the characters as part of the Kabuki act. And it's makeup that is applied by the characters, kind of similar to Joker when that was nominated for makeup. The fact that the characters are very obviously wearing makeup helped it get this nomination. I don't know if there's more to it than that from the behind-the-scenes stuff I've seen. It's mostly just the makeup worn by the characters. I could be wrong. There could be some really impressive stuff in it, but I don't want to predict this too high. My gut is telling me that even if people do see it, there's not that... I have nothing to say. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I'm only ranking it this low based on the fact that it hasn't done super well in the precursors. And that's sort of all that I have to go off of. I tried to see this movie. I wish I had. But I think the other movies have more impressive transformations with the makeup. And this movie, from what I've seen, doesn't. I could be wrong, but that's where I've decided to place it. 4th most likely to win is The Smashing Machine. So all the rest of the nominees I have seen, don't worry about that. And this is a film starring Dwayne Johnson, a very recognizable actor, who is transformed into Mark Kerr. And the transformation, it's so good that it's almost too subtle. You almost don't recognize at first what a complicated makeup job this is, but when you look at the side-by-side of Johnson and Kerr, and you see how much Johnson was transformed for the movie, he looks so much younger in this film than he is in real life. They also had to make makeup that would sweat, believably. And let's not forget, because he's playing a fighter, he gets punched in the face and the makeup has to stay on. Like, from everything I've heard, that is a really, really tricky puzzle that they had to solve. And it looks so convincing. It's so believable. I do think it's going to struggle to win. The head makeup designer for this movie, who I'm forgetting the name of, but he has worked on some pretty major films, including Bombshell and Darkest Hour. Previous winner, very well-respected person in the industry, but because he's already won multiple times, I don't really see an impotence to reward him again, and I don't think this work is quite as notable or as part of a beloved film. Like, Smashing Machine had only got this one nomination. It was never really in talks for anything else. There was a while where people thought maybe Johnson and Blunt could contend, but they didn't. And one thing that we've really seen in the past couple of years is that the makeup winner often tends to be tied to a specific performance. If Dwayne Johnson had been nominated, maybe we could consider this a little bit more, but he isn't. So while this is solid work and I don't begrudge the nomination, I don't think it has any realistic shot of winning. 3rd most likely to win is The Ugly Stepsister. So I just watched this movie yesterday, and the makeup work in this film is truly remarkable in a way that's kind of hard to get across with just still pictures. Because the way that this main character transforms over the course of the movie, she loses a staggering amount of weight during the film. And when I watched it, my assumption was that the actress genuinely lost weight for the part. And I didn't realize until after the fact that, oh no, the actress is super skinny the entire time. And in the first half, she's wearing these unbelievably subtle prosthetics that make her look different, that make her look more plain than she ends up being by the end, which in and of itself is insanely impressive. But there are also more obvious moments with the makeup, moments like the surgery scene, which really took my breath away when I saw it, moments like the ending. You also have the corpse that we see multiple times that had to be done with prosthetic makeup. You also see the period hairstyling that looks so good. Like, to be perfectly honest, if I were an Oscar voter, I'd be tempted to vote for this. I think this is really, really, really impressive work. Now, this is going to be a really big test into just how much does that rule change of Oscar voters must watch every film, how much does that really affect anything? Because if it hadn't been for that rule change, I'd say this movie has no chance because it's underseen. But now, see, a part of me is wondering, because the work is really, really damn good, and if Oscar voters have to watch it, I don't know. I think the tricky thing with that rule is it is possible for certain people to get around that rule, and this movie being a body horror film is the type of film that voters may want to get around. Voters maybe don't want to have to watch this, so some people might just press play and then leave the room, just so it checks it off. Some people might end up watching it but not end up enjoying it and not want to vote for the makeup because of that. And other people might watch it but not realize just how extensive the makeup work is because a lot of it is insanely subtle. This is such a deserving nomination. I'm so glad that the Oscars were cool enough to nominate this. And if it does win, then we would have to have a serious conversation about how to predict the Oscars going forward, because that rule about having to watch all the nominees would really, really be put into effect here. But because of limited precursor wins, because it only has this one nomination, I ultimately don't want to take a chance on it, so I'm going to have it at number 3. But those of you who have not seen this movie, I highly encourage you to do so. Second most likely to win is Sinners. Okay, so the last 2 nominees that I'm going to talk about do have other nominations. Sinners has quite a lot of other nominations, as I'm sure you're aware. And it's funny, the makeup work in the film is not the most obvious. However, there are certain key moments, the injuries that the main characters get where they are wearing notable prosthetics, and these do make up a relatively small portion of the movie. There is also some good, solid period hairstyling. There's also work to turn the actors into vampires. It's all good stuff. It's not the most obvious stuff in this category, but the reason why I rank this over The Ugly Stepsister is this is obviously a much more loved movie overall, and I do think we can't ignore the fact that some voters are just going to check off Sinners in every category. Some voters are going to be lazy like that. And there is solid work being done here, so some voters might be like, oh yeah, the vampires, oh yeah, the injuries, sure, I'll vote for Sinners. I don't think it's going to be enough to win, but I think it just barely edges out Ugly Stepsister for second place. The movie that I think is going to win, however, is Frankenstein. So the most obvious makeup work in this film is Jacob Elordi, the transformation of him into the creature, a character that we've seen so many iterations of before, and this is a new design. Some would argue it's not that original, but I think it works perfectly well for what the movie is trying to do. It's a unique design, and clearly it took a lot of time and effort to apply this design. I think it's really, really good that they went the practical route with makeup as opposed to trying to do something with visual effects. And let's not forget, Elordi is not the only makeup showcase in the film. There's also Mia Goth, who plays the mother in the first act of the film and has to be transformed. There's other characters who have frostbite and injuries, and it's all played very well. This is really, really solid makeup. Even though I have a lot of issues with the film, I don't begrudge the makeup in any way. I think that this would make a solid winner. Now, I think it really, really helps that this movie has already won Critics' Choice and has won BAFTA, and it seems destined to take a number of below-the-line categories. It just kind of makes the most sense. I do think Sinners is going to get some votes because it's such a juggernaut, and Ugly Stepsister is going to get some votes. I Can't imagine the other two making too much of a play. Again, have not seen Kakuhu, I don't know. But my instincts right now say Frankenstein, and right now I'm just going to trust my instincts. So thank you very much for watching this video, and tune in next time when I will be taking a look at the category of Best Costume Design. See you then.